Hey, we're here on steps in the ELC Tier 5 French light tank, and I have to say, I never played the ELC before, but it is a rip-roaring time. It's probably the most fun tank I've played in a long time. So, my first thought here is, when I look at the team comp, there's a bunch of heavy tanks on the other side. I'm going to go out into the middle, and I'm going to try to get some early spots, and the camo on this tank never ceases to amaze me. I can just drive right up to places I couldn't drive to in any other tank and spot enemy tanks. So I don't dare fire here because it'll probably get me lit, and I want to get this intel for my team to see where their heavy tanks are going. I have to say, this game, I just thought it was a crazy game. You can see my team is just kind of lollygagging over to the west, and it's a fairly good dispersion. So it looks like artillery took out the Wolverine. I wonder if you can hear crickets on this map. So now I'm just going to try and bush hop. I get lit, so I find this little bit of cover. This tank has got something about it I've never seen in another tank, which is when you try to stop, you slide all over the place. It's like a ping pong ball. Some guys run vertical, I think it's the stabilizer bars, in order to reduce damage to the tracks, because they're... I mean, I've done cartwheels in this tank. I've only played a few games in it, but it's just...
Enemy is hit.
It's funny. So now that I think about it, this PC-4H is within like 200, 250 meters of me, which makes sense that I would get lit. I'm supposed to back up a little bit further than I did before shooting through a bush. So here come the two Cromwells, and I'm going to try to work with them to come up the middle.
Ready to fire.
So you see the Chaffee got shot in the midair.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
So I don't use the spacebar on a lot of tanks to slide, but with this tank you just kind of can't resist doing it.
Permission to engage.
So I miss a shot on this. I could probably one-shot this guy.
One of our tracks is damaged.
And I forget that I don't have a turret. I totally miss him, so I just bug out of there. Let them have him. The Cromwells eat him.
Where'd they go? That one didn't go through.
With the ELC you can get just very aggressive.
Target acquired.
It's really a
Enemy armor is damaged.
ultimate assassin tank.
The target.
Like, if you could be invisible on the battlefield, think about what you could do.
Penetration.
You see the OI round went over my head. I know I can reload faster than him, so I'll take a second shot. I don't even think it hit him. So now we're down 9 to 11, and You know, they got a lot of. We're actually even on team health. Down by like 268. I don't know why, but I just couldn't resist going after this gorilla. I probably should have focused on the heavy tanks, but I really don't want him. I think it's important to get him out of the way. Because I've done a lot of spotting on this map, I wanted to get some damage in, so I'm kind of hoping I can get this kill.
Permission to engage.
I don't know whose bloom is worse, or whose gun handling is worse, me or the Cromwell. Both pretty horrid, even though the Cromwell's a good tank. So someone says cap now, and I think that's a good idea. And if 3 of us get on cap, see the enemy has 1 on cap now. If all 3 of us got on cap, we would win this game in 30 seconds. But my 2 Cromwells decide to go do damage against 5 heavy tanks. 3 of which are in a platoon of green players. And I just don't see that happening. So I'm kind of thinking it's going to turn into a draw because we're going to both run down the clocks at the same time. They send all of their heavy tanks except the 1 on cap to screen. And all of a sudden, realizing that we're not going to win this.
We're done for. Everyone get out.
Yes, we are done for. So, 1,300 damage, win 8 of, was that 7,300? And, terrible decision by those Cromwells to go and face all those heavy tanks instead of just capping, but them's the breaks. Here's another game on Fjords, and again, looking at the team comp, seem to have, it's a fairly even matchup. So I believe always playing a tank to its strengths, and I'm going to go up to the upper north here and hide out in the bushes and try to get some spots into the middle where they're starting to have their light and medium tanks. It's kind of a long drive up here, so I'm checking to see who's coming with me. Cromwell, coming. Should be adequate. And I remember I was playing, I was platooning the other night, and somebody in my platoon jumped up on this rock, so I figured, well, maybe this tank will get up there. And sure enough, it's kind of sliding around, but it did get up there. Still learning what this tank is capable of. This is a Leopard Tier 5. I'm not going to do a lot of damage to him if I can get a shot at him. Teammates take out the 12T.
Penetration.
Runs. Which is a good idea. I still managed to track him.
Even scratch them.
And he repairs his tracks and off he goes. And I'm just going to take a quick look over here and see that no, they're sending a lot of tanks over to this side. There doesn't seem to be hardly anything up here. So, looking at that, I realize it's probably a good time to advance. If you could call this advancing. And so there's a little trench here on the right. See if I can get a shot at this heavy tank. Yeah, I don't think I didn't hit him. But there's a little depression in the earth here on the right, so we can kind of advance down to the A line. And I'm going to jump up on this rock and see if I can spot anything. Again, most of their tanks have been lit, and most of their tanks are done on the other side. So I'm going to be able to, I think, just drive right up to their base. We're ahead 6-3. I think their, map position is okay, so I'm looking for their artillery, but doesn't seem to be hiding in the usual spots, so not sure why. And so as I come around faster than I should be coming around, I see myself facing 30A1P, and there's their artillery. And I decide to turn around and run, but in hindsight, I probably should have just driven straight through and right past him in E25 style, but I didn't think of it till right after I committed to turning away.
Target acquired.
Because at that point, then I could have just ambushed the artillery, and who knows? But hindsight is 20/20. One good thing about this tank is if you run away, you don't have to run away for very long, because as soon as you drop your spot, then you can find a good camouflage position. See, my team is basically routed them down in the south, so the game's pretty much over. I did get a shot at the artillery, which is good. Overall, a super fun tank.